Bitch, I'm about to blow up. Say what? Bitch, I'm about to blow up.
Silent Mike, Super Training Gym, Mark Bell's Powercast here, answering more questions from Instagram. A lot of you guys are asking, like, when do I post or whatever to post a picture, to ask a question. Typically, I'll just post a picture asking, saying, hey guys, filming now, ask a question. It's so simple. Follow me there if you want to get your questions answered. It could be fitness related or non. If it's stupid, I might just ignore it, but it's worth a shot. Here we go, man. Getting started. Here we go. I already lost my spot. I already had a good place, and I lost it. Question is from my guy Abdullah. Should you squat while having back pain when finishing up a session? I'd say squatting's always good, but if you're having back pain towards the end of your session, you should probably figure out why you're having back pain and fix that issue. Maybe it's a core tightening thing, like your breathing, how you're bracing your stomach. Maybe your hips are getting tight, and that's kind of pulling on your low back or wherever. If your upper back's tight, maybe it has something to do with how you're holding the bar. Maybe you need to move your grip out, thumb off, maybe grip closer, something like that. So I'd try to address the issue before just cutting out squats. Or maybe you're going too heavy too often. It's hard to say. What do we got? What is the best program to increase your deadlift? I don't think there is one best program, but there's a lot of things that kind of simple that work. Jim Wendler's 5-3-1 will work. We kind of use a conjugate-based method, the cube method, rotating kind of max effort, repetition effort, and dynamic week to week, deadlifting once a week has worked well for me. Using a lot of variations on my deadlift has helped. I use a lot of blocks and a lot of deficits. You just got to kind of try it out over time and see what works for you. Obviously, building up your back will help. Building up your hamstrings, your legs, your quads, all of it will kind of help you get stronger in that nice big deadlift. What else we got? Someone asked Mark how they got the idea of the slingshot, but it was on my thing, so we'll come to that some other day. Go watch some videos of Mark, or maybe the podcast. I'm sure he's talked about it. What else do we got? On average, how fast do people reach an elite level in powerlifting? Not to be a total douche, but I feel like if you gotta say not to be a total douche, you're probably a total douche. Not to be a total douche, but I feel like I'm progressing too fast. I'm going for a 405 squat, 275 bench, and a 500 deadlift for this week, and I've been powerlifting for 6 months and squatting and deadlifting, benching correctly for a year, and I weigh 153 pounds. Depending on how fat I eat, do smaller people get stronger faster? I don't know if there's such thing as progressing too fast if you're staying injury-free and your form's good. I think those lifts are great, man. Like, keep going. I don't know if there's an average of how people reach elite in powerlifting. For those that don't know, there's a status or a total for each weight class that classifies you as elite. It's not that elite, in my personal opinion. It's a good total when you reach elite, and it's something to maybe strive for, but it doesn't mean you're elite in the sport. The real elite in the sport are these, top 10 in each weight class. Those guys are crushing the elite classification. That's just my input. There's really strong human beings out there. Elite total's great, and it's something cool. It's something cool to strive for, but I don't know how fast people reach it. And I don't think smaller people get stronger faster. It's very person by person who's going to get stronger faster. Why do some taller guys have a stronger narrow grip bench? I don't know. Maybe the taller guys are bigger. I don't know who you're referring to. But there's tons of small guys with strong narrow grips and small guys with wide grips too. Some of the big boys have a better narrow grip because they just have big chests and big arms. Mark benches with a fairly narrow grip if you're going by competition, which is pointer here on the rings. Mark has a fairly narrow grip. Some of the Lillibridges bench with a fairly narrow grip, and they're pretty freaking strong. What is my typical mobility prehab exercises before my bench squat deadlift workout? It'll depend by workout, but lately I haven't been doing any quote-unquote mobility. I'll get into the gym and try to get a sweat going, so I'll throw on the hip circle, start dancing around the gym, turn on my favorite song, boogie around. Then I hop on the Pitch Shark, which Super Training has. It's basically a belt squat machine. I'll do just a couple sets of 10 to get some blood in my legs, and then I go straight under the bar and go. I think mobility and stuff, I can't phrase this right, so it's not overrated. It's very important, but it's not so important just before your workout. It's important like through life. It's important to maybe do on your rest days or after you lift. Before you lift, you should get prepped for that workout session. So you should get some blood flow into the areas you need. You should kind of get those joints moving. So on the bench press, I'll take a band, I'll do some pull aparts, I'll do some face pulls, I'll do some dislocates, and then I'll take the bar, I'll take maybe a quarter, maybe a plate, warm up very slow and get blood into the muscles, and then go. Even doing dumbbell presses, dumbbell arms, triceps or biceps before you bench can be helpful. But try to get yourself prepped for that session rather than worrying about mobility. Mobility can come after the session, in my opinion, or maybe on an off day. What are my hobbies outside of lifting and basketball? I wish basketball was a hobby, man, but it's not anymore. It was my life for a really long time. It's all I did. But I don't have that much time to play basketball, and it doesn't quite work with my goals in lifting or work right now. So I don't play that much basketball. I do like watching a lot of sports. I guess that's a hobby. I watch a lot of football, basketball, especially NBA and NFL. I watch a little college here and there. I like watching the UFC, especially more recently. I've gotten into MMA a little bit more as a viewer, not a freaking participant. No, thank you. I'm too much of a sissy. I like going to movies, kind of the typical stuff. I like music. I used to be really into music. I played the drums, played a little guitar, a little bit of trumpet. That's about it, man. I ain't got no time for hobbies. I'm grinding, trying to grind. Nick St. Pierre wants to know, will I ever release a PDF or Excel of my training for others to try? To be honest, probably not. I don't really use PDFs or Excels. I'm not into that. I don't know computer stuff. Sometimes I do write out my workouts or plan ahead a little bit, but if you want to know about my workouts, probably listen to the podcast or stay tuned to these videos, and I'll talk about more of what I do. There's multiple podcasts where Mark and I go exactly over like one workout, example of one workout, or example of like a month of working out, kind of how we train. How long have I been dancing? Can we expect dancing tutorials? I've never, I wouldn't consider myself a dancer really. Omar was kind of joking when he released all that. I do like to dance. I like hip hop, but I'm not really a dancer. I've been messing around with dancing and enjoy having fun for, I don't know, years, but I'm not very good. What's my arms flexed? And what are my top 3 tricep exercises? I actually don't have very big arms. Fairly lean arms, I guess, but I'm not very big. I don't know, maybe flexed, maybe 16 and a half, 17 at the biggest probably I've ever been. My favorite tricep exercises are probably like a close grip bench, maybe a slingshot bench, JM presses, skull crushers, and then I do a lot of like one arm push downs on a cable. For my next Q&A, how did I meet Mark Bell? I wish it was some fancy romantic story, but basically I just walked into his gym and met him that way. I don't even think I watched his YouTube or anything at that time. He had a YouTube, but it wasn't super popular like he is now, Mr. Hollywood. But he had a YouTube. I had maybe seen a couple of videos, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I think I'd seen Bigger, Stronger, Faster, but I didn't get the connection for that until later either. I just heard about super training through a friend and started showing up, trying to learn, trying to get better. Do I look up to other powerlifters? Am I friends with any? I mean, I guess. There's tons of strong guys that I like watching their videos and follow or whatever. I don't know who I consider a friend per se, but I've met a lot of great lifters. Lucky enough that a lot of lifters come through super training, and a lot of lifters are friends with Mark, so I get to hang out with them, talk to them, pick their brains, and that's kind of where I've learned everything. You know, I've read books. I've read plenty of books. I've read super training. I had a NASM certification, National Academy of Sports Medicine, and I kind of did all that, but my real learning is just being able to hang out with guys like Brandon Lilly, Chad Wesley-Smith, Jesse Burdick, Max Iada, the guys at Cal Strength, Dave Spitz. Even though it's a totally different sport, every time we talk, we start talking strength, and I'm picking up new information. Kelly Starrett, Eric Spoto, all these guys, Stan Efferding. I mean, there's just decades of expert experience that I get to learn from firsthand, and that's kind of accelerated my learning, in my opinion. I've just been exposed to a lot of greatness really kind of early in my lifting career. You know, I've been lifting pretty hard, maybe 10 plus years, but powerlifting maybe only 4 to 5 years, and I've just been saturated with kind of these experts, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty lucky position, to be honest. Do I think it's possible to have really high numbers in the main 3 lifts while still training work capacity and endurance. I do think it's possible, but I think kind of that's vague. What are really high numbers? There's some guys that I look up to, going back to like athletes I look up to in the CrossFit world that are just studs, man. Like Jason Khalipa, we had a chance to go down there and work with some of him and his team last summer in some power lifts, and they're just freaks. They're so strong, they're so athletic, they're so fit. You know, are they lifting Lillibridge numbers? No, but they're all deadlifting over 500 pounds, squatting around 500 pounds, benching high threes, and then they can go freaking run through a wall and run sprints and do Olympic lifts and rope climb, and their work capacity is way higher than the average man. So I obviously do think it's possible. Guys like him are awesome. Rich Froning, I watched all the CrossFit regionals recently, and I'll watch the CrossFit Games. I think all that's awesome. Just the dedication those athletes have to their sport, doing 2 and 3 days year round to be good at so many different tasks is pretty cool. So I do think it's possible. And then someone underneath him actually says, have you ever heard of Alex Viada? Or Viada, I might be saying that wrong. I may be incorrect. You guys can correct me in the comments, but I think that guy, squatted 600-700 pounds and then ran some crazy mile time, maybe sub 5 or something just ridiculous, or a marathon, something like that. So obviously it is possible. There's guys in the NFL that I'm sure could do stuff like that, lift some pretty dang heavy weight and still have a very high aerobic capacity. That's about it for the time, guys. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe, like if you like the video. Mark Bell's Powercast on iTunes if you want to hear more of my wonderful voice. And that's it. Until next time.